Don't you just love it when you get like halfway through recording a segment and then realize that the video you're responding to hasn't been hasn't been played for anybody else? So we're going to start the video over. We got about halfway through the video, but well, I got halfway through the video. The chat just listened to me respond to nothing. Anyways, we're going to be talking about loneliness and ways to cope with that. We're going to be listening to a Saiko Sloth over on YouTube. I believe she's also on Twitter. Yes, she's on Twitter. Check her out there and her YouTube for sure. Video will be in the description when my response comes out.
Hi, it's Sai, and
Hi.
you're not alone. Today I wanted to discuss the loneliness epidemic while building this Pokemon figurine. And no, this isn't going to be a doomer video essay where
Model building solidarity.
I talk about how the world is going to explode. Let's be productive and actually discuss some ways to cope, okay? This is the Re-Ment Pokemon Terrarium collection by Happy Namaichi, which I purchased from the Pokemon Center in Japan. There's tons of statistics that I could throw at you, but I'm sure you've seen them, so let's get started.
Not only have a lot of people seen the statistics she's talking about, a lot of people just won't have that sink in. They don't want to actually go through the effort of reading them all, figuring it out. A lot of people just want to hear somebody else talk about it, which makes sense. Like, I get that. I do that too. I listen to a lot of podcasting.
The older I get, the more I realize that what I used to attribute as loneliness was really boredom, or maybe a fear of being judged. I never wanted to sit alone while eating or go for a jog by myself because I was afraid someone would judge me. Nowadays, I think it's funny. I feel less lonely on my own than when I'm in a voice channel. I think the more we make our hobbies who we are,
there is something to be said about the alienation of not having a person in the room talking with you when you're actually like in a voice channel, as opposed to literally talking to nobody. I sort of get where she's coming from, but I do personally enjoy hanging out in the voice chats in my Discord server. Like, literally, before this stream, I was in voice chat procrastinating for this stream. But to be fair, if I just started all my segments right at the start of stream, not as many people, or a lot of more people, would have missed the stuff that I started talking about. Then again, VODs are out there. So, I'm on a tangent.
the more we're crushed and we no longer feel that sense of community. I used to wrap my entire personality around being a gamer, keeping up on the latest news, titles, ranking up. Unfortunately, spaces like that become something of an echo chamber, which meant it eventually became more toxic. And I didn't really want to be friends.
There is something to be said about just having the ideas you've already have set in your head and just going in your ways, and then not actually learning from new information. I do think sticking in those echo chambers can be quite a bit of can turn into quite a problem, but I think they definitely can be handled in a relatively healthy way. At least I like to think so in my biases. Is that not going on? Is that that's the right way? Pog.
Friends with the kind of person that cares more about numbers on a screen than our actual friendship. So
yeah, there's going to be tons of people out there, especially in the VTuber scene, who just care about the numbers they have on Twitter. C210, B230. And they care less about the people they directly interact with. But that's like a very hard thing to convey, really. Like, you can really enjoy somebody, but not message them every day. For me, I'm terrible at messaging people. But there's a lot of people I definitely think very positively of. I just don't DM a lot of people. I get a decent amount of DMs on my own, but I recognize that I do need to work on, sending the first DM kind of thing.
Oh, I had to remove a lot of people from my life. I know it's hard, but look closely at the people who surround you. If they make you feel bad most of the time, then they're probably contributing to your loneliness. If you find that to be the case, my recommendation is to embrace being alone just a little bit and reclaim your freedom to do that. It might sound counterintuitive.
This does actually sound counterintuitive to start, but she has a very good point that, focus on yourself and people that will attract people's attention. Focusing on yourself and building your hobbies is what gets you to appear more interesting to other people, where you have stories to tell of the things you enjoy that you're enthusiastically talking about. That's what people respond to positively, when you're enthusiastic about something. That said, there is the line, too much of a good thing. You can be overly enthusiastic. The context matters. Like, read the room. If somebody's responding to you low energy, but they're positively talking about the same kind of interest you have, random example, Pokemon. If you're in a conversation about Pokemon and they're just kind of low energy, it doesn't quite match the tone of the conversation for you to be overly enthusiastic at that time, kind of thing.
But putting all of your energy into someone who doesn't want to return it can make it feel like you're screaming at a brick wall. Instead, carve out intentional time to make yourself unavailable to other people, whether it be friends or family, and use this time to just quiet your brain. Try to realize no one is judging you, and if they are, they're probably an asshole anyways.
True. I don't personally worry too much if people are judging me, because I actually know for a fact that people are judging me right now. I don't care that much. I make my content by sharing my opinions online. It's a bit more of a inherently judged position, because you're making all your stances and positions open to the public. You're putting yourself out there, making commentary, and, well, people are more than welcome to respond however they wish. POV me judging you right now.
Learn to love being alone, and it will be life-changing, I promise. Now I want to talk about social media. If you haven't done a social media detox, or at least turned off your notifications, then make that the top of your priority list. As we know, lonely people tend to seek out social media, but we also know that that doesn't tend to end well for them. I don't think social media is social anymore. It's kind of naive to believe that the early internet chaos would last forever, but what we've been left with is a society barren of third places and community centers, as well as a digital world that's been stripped of all creativity and connection.
I would definitely blame that on the capitalistic system we live in, that's so profit-oriented that you have to make money off of literally everything, because money drives the economy and all that jazz. And that has just led to more isolation and alienation in the world we live in. Yay! Fit.
For the chronically online, which is most of our generation, it can be really easy to attribute the many shares and likes on hateful content as the standard of our society. In reality, you're
a lot of people take the trends and whatnot on Twitter, take the broad opinions put out and get lots of likes. A lot of people don't realize that most people in this world are not on Twitter. They've got better things to do than argue online. For me, well, it is fun to argue online. I just wish I had more time to do it. Yay, Magnemon's head.
Just seeing an echo chamber of bad people agree with each other, and the more of a reaction you have to this content, the more the algorithms will feed you. If you're a worried or anxious person, this quickly leads to a cycle where you think the people around you are dangerous and you're just going to want to be alone. Our prehistoric monkey brains don't do well with digital spaces. They see it as some sort of a voluntary.
Hot take, the internet was just as toxic as back then. Yeah, I agree with that, actually. I've been around the internet for most of my life. I think I first got access to it when I was like 13. That's just when my parents first got a computer. But it had been around. Well, no, I was looking up what was it? Game winners? God, I can't even remember. It was a very long time ago. It was before the time of game FAQs. But tangent. There's a lot of people that just see the internet now and they're just recently accessing it. So they think it's like a new thing, especially within the VTuber scene. Since the VTuber scene is pretty young, a lot of people joining it, which are also happen to be Zoomers, they would think that it's something new. But in reality, it's just more people getting attention to it, and therewith come the toxic traits of humans en masse. Because everybody's different. Everybody's a snowflake. I used to connect with friends on Facebook. I stopped when I realized Facebook was just trying to occupy all my time. Yeah, I kind of drifted back away from Facebook a while ago. I'd say algorithms have rewarded a lot of toxic behaviors, but they did exist before. They're just amplified now. Yeah, like when they first existed within the online spaces, it was a lot more of I think it wasn't actually rage bait that got most of the traction in the early video days. What I remember seeing was a lot of the funny videos and stuff, like Numa Numa. But these days, yeah, I think there was even an article that put out that it was talking about how algorithms tend to push conservative talking points because conservative talking points are a lot of frog in my throat. Conservative talking points are a lot of fear mongering, and that gets fear clicks or rage clicks, and that just builds bigotry and leads to a worse world overall. And I am grossly simplifying.
Self-isolation torture. So we still need to give it some IRL interaction as a treat every once in a while. While this is something I myself am working on, I can definitely say it's been difficult, but worth it. I touched on this earlier, but the reduction of third spaces has been pretty devastating.
I don't have polycaps. I just realized. A1, B2, C1, C2. Oh no, I do. Yes, I do. Never mind. They're different color polycaps. I'm gonna back up so I can re-listen because I turned in.
Difficult.
Or tuned out.
worth it.
A
I touched on this earlier,
God.
but the reduction of third spaces has been pretty devastating for our society. This article by Forbes touches a bit on this problem and mentioning the prioritization of convenience over availability of daily social interactions. Self-checkout lanes, delivery services, even work from home has caused community builders to second-guess any investments towards public spaces.
I think we definitely need to invest more in better public spaces. Like, can we go back to the original concept of malls, where it was literally everything that malls were today, except also there were housing available for people? So like you would be not very far away from this social space, a communal gathering point. We need a lot more of that in today's societies. Like, just think about it. How far away is the closest park from where you are right now? For me, it's a few blocks.
Not to mention our infrastructure.
Which, admittedly, is not very far. But then again, in the area I'm in, there's not a whole lot of parks available. I just happen to live near the closest one. And even then, there's not a lot of community events that I even go to. It's hard to organize. It's hard to schedule. But you gotta figure out what kind of communal event that you would want to see. And if you don't see one in your community, you can always organize one. And promote it on places that allow promotion of that. Look, I was able to successfully organize at least 2 cosplay cosplay picnics in a big park in like the downtown area of my city. I just posted on the local conventions forum that, hey, I want to do this thing at this time, and I'm going to show up in cosplay and have a picnic, and if anybody wants to join me, that'd be poggers. I didn't say poggers because at the time, that wasn't a cool thing to say, even though it still isn't. I just like to say it anyways because it's funny to me. But, long story short, like 30 people showed up, and we were all cosplaying Naruto in a big public park and hanging out. We even played Red Rover. It was a pretty fun time. The possibilities are out there. I was actually pretty introverted when I did that, so it was kind of like hosting a kind of event that I had a liking of, an affinity for. So anybody joining that event, albeit how niche it was, I could strike up a conversation with any of them over the common topic, Naruto.
Structure doesn't lend well to seeing friends. And as much as my autistic soul would love to hear that the world did this to create more accessible ways for me to order a pizza,
that's horseshit. It's capitalism. It's just making your life worse so that people can save money.
something tells me this is less about loneliness and more about
Capitalism.
corporate greed.
Yeah.
Human interaction isn't easy to measure, so many companies don't believe it's profitable. Not much I can say about this one. I guess if you're an extrovert, you can try to make friends in the checkout lane. Avoid self-checkout.
Yeah, pretty much. The going through a checkout with a cashier, you don't even need to go in with the intention of making a friend of that cashier or anybody in line. You just start off with just one line. You just say one thing about the purchase you're making or the weather. Literally, start small. Wash had made similar points to this. Yeah, he's talked a lot about loneliness stuff. And, well, I've heard of it. I've heard a lot of it, so I'm probably going to be repeating a fair amount of points. because I don't remember exactly what ones he makes, but he makes a lot of good points. I heard on the radio that a lot of companies are axing self-checkout due to theft, shrinkage. Really? I've been getting the feeling that more companies are going towards self-checkout so that they don't have to employ as many people. But yeah, I totally get that there's a lot of theft with self-checkout. I've been stopped for perceived theft, which was kind of funny. If by funny, what? Oh, that way. Poggers. If by funny you mean boring.
So, what can we, the average person, do about loneliness? At the end of the day, this is a problem that's often solved by making real human connections. And that's not something I can guarantee over a YouTube video. But I can give some advice that's helped me. If you're broke, like me, you can try redirecting your feelings of loneliness towards something you've always wanted to do. Keeping yourself busy can be helpful. My dream for a long time has been a creative career. So I try to work on art, voice acting, animation. When I feel lonely, I just assign myself a task and distract myself.
God, that's literally what I'm doing right this second. But yeah, she is making a lot of great points. I'm really liking the content, and I kind of want to incentivize you guys to go check out the rest of the video, because I haven't seen an actual problem with this video whatsoever, and I think it's definitely worthwhile checking, or worth checking out. Yeah, I definitely want to finish this video, but I kind of want to make a shift somewhat with how I do my reaction content. I've been doing a lot of self-reflection on that. And I'm leaning towards not fully finishing a video that I'm actually personally enjoying as the video that I want to give more. I don't want to just, let's go with steal the content. This is, Sai here is definitely a person worth checking out, so I'm going to make you guys finish the video on your own. Haha. But I will do some wrap-up thoughts regarding loneliness. And she was making a fairly good, or she made a really good point of, you can't really guarantee beating loneliness or any kind of cure to it, or a perfect solution that's a one-size-fits-all. That just doesn't exist in the world we live in. Our world is just far too complicated for that. And I'm just trying to think of other things that I've done to, make friends, but I don't know if I would really recommend that to everybody. But for what it's worth, I've been in a relationship for 9 years where I met the person on Craigslist, and I've met my two best friends, after becoming an adult, on Grindr. So, grain of salt. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe for more content, and if you want to join the community, feel free to check out the Discord. I love to voice chat in there, so if you want to ever talk, I'm usually available. Well, in the afternoons.